What's up my loves, my name is Paige, this is Paige with Paige, and today we're going to be doing 7 on Sunday. Seven on Sunday is a Goodreads group created by Grace from Cheese Swizzle, and I'll leave a link to both Grace's channel and the Goodreads group in the description box below. So this week's topic is 7 books that we didn't think we'd like, and maybe low-key ended up loving. So for me, I have 5 physical copies and 2 image ones at my mother's and the other I read as an ebook. So let's start with those. So the first one that I'm going to mention is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. So I read this as an ebook. I fucking adored it. Essentially what this is a girl is in a relationship and the boyfriend's a bit of a dickhead. She ends up meeting this older gentleman at the movies and they sort of hit it off. They don't have a relationship, like, no, to begin with, but it turns out that it was her boyfriend's dad. So that's one interesting point of contention, but I fucking loved it. I thought it was so well written and so well done that yes, just perfection. I didn't think I'd like it because of the age gap and then it being like my first time diving into that sort of a romance genre. No. Loved it. Then the other image that I have is because I lent out this copy to my mum, and that is I Let You Go by Claire McIntosh. I really enjoyed this because I'm not a thriller person, but holy shit, this caught me by surprise. I read it because my friend and I had a bet. I'll leave a link to my wrap up where I talk about how that all came to be. But I'm so thankful that this happened because I loved it. I thought it was really creative, a bit outlandish in some points, but in a thriller, like, is it really meant to be that realistic? So yeah, absolutely enjoyed it and would highly recommend. I definitely gave it a 5-star. Next up we have Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. The reason I didn't think I'd like this is because I really wasn't a fan of Assassin's Apprentice, which is the first one. The reason being, I was not a high fantasy reader at that point. I was still just getting back into reading, and so reading Assassin's Apprentice was just a struggle for me. The terms and everything just, did not click in my head, but I figured a few years later I'd want to continue on, and so I did, and I fell in love with the series because I just think Fitz's character is so amazing, the magic system's fantastic, and I was in a better place to appreciate what Robin Hobb does. So yeah, I thought I wasn't gonna like it. I was like, you know, I'll see how we go. I'm now like a massive Robin Hobb stan, so love that for us. Next up was a semi-recent read, and that is Silence of the Lambs by Thomas Harris. Again, not my usual genre, didn't think I'd like it, thought I was just going to be petrified the entire time. No, I actually really enjoyed this. I think I gave it a 4, not a 5, because of just elements I didn't feel like it was 100% there. But considering I gave it a 4-star when I was going in thinking it might be a 2 or like 3 if we were pushing the friendship, I'm definitely surprised at how much I really enjoyed it, and I think it was really well done as well. Kept me on my toes and the characters were just so interesting. Next up we have Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell. I went into this knowing that Jade from JD Ray Reads absolutely loved it, and I don't know, there was something that I was like, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this. Seems a bit young. No, this is glorious. I loved every second about it. The premise of conning his way into having magic is just perfect, and the characters are just so wonderful, wholesome people. Faris just hits me in a whole different way. Rikus is fucking hilarious, and Kellen is just great. It does have that YA writing style, but it really worked for the story, and I didn't think that it was too juvenile that it detracted from the story at all. So highly recommend this. I absolutely adored it. The next 2 took me by surprise because they were book boxes, and so I sort of had heard mixed things about it, hadn't really seen much positive, so I was a little bit apprehensive about going into them. The first one that I'm going to start with is Amber and Dust by Lara Celine. I'd heard pretty not good things about this. My expectations were seriously dropped. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it, but I ended up really liking it. I think the opulence of the world was fantastic, and yeah, it was just a lot of fun. I think that it strongly reminded me of more of that fantastical, dusty Bells by Daniel Clayton, which I absolutely adored. So yeah, I definitely think there was room for improvement, but I'm definitely going to continue on with the series, and I was surprised I liked it as much as I did. Sorry, battery died, so continuing on. The last book that I am very surprised at how much I loved it was Cryer's War by Nina Varela. So again, we got this in an Owl Crate box, and I was nervous. The autonomy versus humans, and just, I hadn't heard many good things from it. I hadn't heard anyone really talk about it, and I picked it up after hearing one positive review, I think, and I absolutely fell in love with this. I love the LGBT elements to it. I loved the characters. I loved the world. It's just perfect. I know, obviously, saying it's perfect, I know that it has its flaws, but I'm more than happy to overlook them just because of how marvelous it is, and I adored this with every fibre of my being, and I'm so happy that I read it and it exists, and yeah, just everyone needs to pick it up because it's marvellous. So these are just some of the books that caught me by surprise in the fact of how much I liked them when I was not expecting to. Let me know in the comments what's a book that surprised you with how much you enjoyed it. You went in with pretty low expectations or were very happy for it to be a mediocre read and then it exceeded them hardcore. And if you like this video, feel free to give it a big thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of this mess, feel free to subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video. Bye!